Hey guys, happy Wednesday. You know it's noon, so guess what time it is? It's another episode of Naked with Dr. Money. I'm Dr. Stephanie Ardrey, the CEO of ZenoVerse Wellness Group, Inc., with our portfolio of products, but 420 Wellness Jamaica. Go book your wellness week. It gets your time in now. Well, anyway, as you know, I've been coming to you each week sharing my behind scenes, sort of naked view of how it is I am building a startup multinational organization. And Lord have mercy, talk about work, right? I guess it would be enough, why can't you just open up down the street in your neighborhood? Why you want to go to other countries? You don't speak all the language. You don't have all the rights to be there, but you're coming anyway, right? Well, guess what? This was my 9-year young dream. And so I have been working and developing tools in order to live this journey today, right now. And I'm so excited because each week when we talk about mindset, I always put to my guests, do they think mindset is a result of nature or nurture or a little bit of both? And then how they've experienced not only the motivation that's necessary from a mindset in order to realize and manifest your goals and desires. And a lot of times we get caught up in timing. We have this ideal about when things should happen. But many of us began to realize over the journey that it doesn't always happen on our time, but it happens at the right time. So today I want to share a couple things because, as you know, I've been doing a course in miracles, and I hope that some of you will join me on the course. I'm 116 days in. Today is the 116th day. The message for today says, God's will for me is perfect happiness, and I can suffer, but from the belief there is another will apart from His. That's message number one. And message number two, I share God's will for happiness for me. I share my Father's will for me, His Son. What He has given me is all I want. What He has given me is all there is. So I hope you'll share in those two thoughts for today. But I am so excited because I have my sister in love who's joining me today, Miss Dennise Pruitt. I call her Nisi. She is fabulous. I just love on her as much as I can love on her. We instant sisters from the time we met, and whether we talk one day or haven't talked in 5 years, it's just like the last time we had a conversation. She is a badass mama. Meaning that she is bright, she is brilliant, she is beautiful, right? So I'm gonna bring my sister on so we can have this conversation today. Hey, sis.
Hey,
How
I'm
you
so happy to be here. Thank you for allowing me to come on your platform.
Oh my gosh, it is such a treat. It is such a treat. We have, many moons of history.
Yes, we do. And some of it we can't let get out. Okay. Y'all don't need to know what we was doing.
Exactly. It's like there are certain parts of the story that it's like just validate, but it's like we've sworn to secrecy.
Yes, yes. We will not be on the Freaknik Hulu uh documentary. Or
Although
maybe.
I'm doing a turn up for 420 Beauty Bear in Trinidad Carnival for February. I think it's time to pull out, right?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Listen, my body is ready to go. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm saying, hey guys, get ready. Now don't be shamed. Let's go.
Hey, I'm all this role is gonna fit into a uniform to a costume. I don't
That's
even care.
That's listen. Some guy, messaged me today, and I said, "Well, where are you from?" He said something about Trinidad. I said, "Well, where are you? Are you in Trinidad?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "It's a funny thing you mentioned Trinidad. We are on our way."
Yes, yeah, I am so down. Okay,
Yes, yes,
you need my
yes.
credit card so I can book right now.
Okay, that's my sis. That's what's up, and that's the kind of love that we're looking for. But sis, we met at a party originally and just fell in love just
Hmm.
instant, real
Instant.
chemistry. And you did something that very few people do, believe it or not. Oftentimes, I've always been a person to sew in and help other people, not always receive that, from other folks, but you're one of those rare people that I can say along my journey that introduced me into an amazing, opportunity and took care of me in that relationship. And I'll always, have gratitude to you and for you as a result of it, because it really was important and it made a difference for me at
Yes.
a time that I really needed, an opportunity. And so I think about, in business and again, this journey called life, we never know in the beginning if we connect with someone for a reason,
Mhm.
a season, or a lifetime. Like only living the journey begins to tell that. But what I'm so proud of is you are a certified property manager
Yes.
controlling a big portfolio of properties. And
Mhm.
I know that that is a hectic, demanding responsibility while being a mother of two brilliant boys, beautiful, handsome young boys, and a beautiful wife, to a husband who has a dynamic and exciting career. How, sis, do you manage your mindset?
Um, Wine helps.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not even hey, we keep it real. You know us too. We keep it real. So yes,
Yeah.
wine helps, but
Okay.
I've learned over the years to try you have to put yourself first. And which is very hard with the profession that I'm in because I have a lot of people that pull on me, from my team that works for me to the people that I service, to the companies that I service. In addition to having one child that's in Ivy League college. He's graduating in May. He's graduating in May.
Oh my gosh, that Jalen, he
Yes,
just makes us all so proud. That's
yes.
a major accomplishment, and that
It is.
changes the future legacy of your family.
It
So it's
does.
such
It
an important
does.
accomplishment. Yes, yes.
Yes. So even though our children get older, they still need mama. They still need us to fill out forms. Just where's mom? Where's my insurance card? In your pocket, son. So, juggling that. And then I also have an eighth grader who's also graduating. So I'm a wreck. I really am. Like emotionally, I'm trying to figure it out myself. But I have learned that for me, therapy, which I go once a week, and also having some type of physical activity. I am a member of Orange Theory. I need structure. I'm one of those people. I need structure. So you can't just put me in the gym and say, Dennise, go. I'm gonna go home. In fact, I'm probably gonna go stop by Chick-fil-A on my way home. Like
It's like all the bad things.
all
No,
the
no,
bad things.
no.
I'm going straight. I worked out for 30 minutes. I deserve Chick-fil-A. So I find that, having like an organized workout, like such as like Orange Theory Fitness or Club Pilates or whatever, where there's kind of like a class, I do better.
Mhm.
And so
Oh,
that's
you're
how I
gonna love
think.
your week in Jamaica and every place else we go. You're gonna love your weeks away.
I know. Listen, yeah, I got some stories about Jamaica. I
Well, good
may or may
thing
not have gotten one child from my trip to Jamaica.
okay. All right. All right. All right. Well, those safe nuggets, Jamaica's known.
I mean,
Everything flourishes there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so when I think about that then and getting the support, and support is important, and I love what you said about understanding to put ourselves first, because I remember the first time traveling with my young infant and getting on a flight and they're like, put your mask on first. And I realized that all the time I've heard them give that message, and the few messages that they can give, why that would be such an important message to give to a mother, because of course that's not natural. You're going to try to do it. They're like, look, if you pass out, what you think will happen to this child? You need to be
exactly.
here.
Yes.
You must survive first. So,
Mhm.
you have to do that. And a lot of times I know for myself, I say, law school and COVID really saved my life because I was on the verge of burnout. But more importantly, my brain was being poisoned and I didn't realize it because there
Mhm.
were no symptoms yet to reveal it, except for me going, wait a minute, I should remember, like I remember everything, right? But can't remember these things. And it just didn't seem, everybody's like, just get some sleep. You just finished a doctorate. Now you in law school. You're like, get some sleep. That'll
Yeah.
fix it. I'm like, yeah, that would, but something just didn't seem, yourself, didn't seem
Mhm.
right. And so
Mhm.
in Jamaica, when I went through our protocol, because I'm a believer in, I practice what I preach. So when I went through our protocol and got a organ scan and realized that my brain was being poisoned from too much cortisol release and hair dye. And so, at that point, Doc started a detox regimen to help me begin to detox my organs that were being impacted. And mainly it was my brain at that point. So luckily it hadn't gone anyplace else, but imagine starting at my brain, which meant that I could be on an early path to, dementia, Alzheimer's, those kinds of things. And it's not necessary. But
Mhm.
when I think about the profile of the typical high performing, going for it, overcommitted in some cases, how imbalanced you can become. And, it's one thing if you're there temporarily, it's another
Yes.
thing if you find yourself staying there for an extended
Mhm.
period.
And I think, especially us being African American women, minority women, it's almost expected of us to perform at such high levels. I mean, we've been given the term super women, but those are terms and words that we should really strive to take out of our vocabulary because, like you said, my burnout came recently. So I just learned this lesson. Like I've just been on this journey within the last year. And it was just that my body just was shutting down. Like I was in so much pain. And I ended up having to have surgery, which was the best decision I could have ever made in my life because and I had a hysterectomy. So I'm not ashamed to tell anybody that. So if anybody has any questions about that, women, because it affects a lot of women, and specifically African American and Latino women. So if anybody has any questions about that, I'll be here for you. But
Mhm.
best decision of my life, I have never felt so much better. I did not realize much how many issues I was having or how much was going on. So that obviously when you have to have surgery or you have any type of major health issue, it forces you to slow down.
Mhm.
So that was the best thing I could do because I realized during that time of being off of work, I realized how much work I was doing. I didn't know. I did
Mhm.
not I did not know. It was so much work to the point where my company decided that I probably need another assistant.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, it was a blessing that I listened to my doctors. I followed, um, the steps that I needed to take. And as a result of doing what I was supposed to do, which is take care of me, I got more help on the end
Mhm.
because someone else had to fill my shoes. And then they saw, oh, wow, Dennise is doing a lot. She's managing a lot. She has a lot on her plate. So I will always say, when you put you first, all the other stuff is going to fall in line. Put you first. I definitely believe, I preach wellness, like I preach it. Like before you go to the doctor, I mean, go to the doctor, of course, go to the doctor, but also look into alternatives. There's
Yes.
an alternative for the alternative.
Absolutely.
Try
Absolutely.
it
Yes.
first. You
Yes. Exactly, because that's really what, a lot of people kind of say, Steph, what do you mean about wellness? I'm like, I've been in wellness since I was 9. It was when my mother, we bought our first house, and, it was just she and I was the only child, and she hadn't had to cook. My grandmother would cook because we lived at my grandmother's house. So now she was going to learn to cook. But she, at that point, decided that she didn't want me to suffer from high blood pressure and the other so-called diseases. So she bought 2 books. She bought the Soul Food Cookbook, and she bought Back to Eden. And so she decided that she was going to incorporate herbs and natural cooking. And we were eating brown rice before that was a thing. It wasn't all refined and all of this stuff like it is now. It was the raw, and so I got teased a lot in my family because they were like, oh, she's so foo-foo. I didn't know. I still don't. I remember she took me to a soul food restaurant in my 20s, almost 30s. And they had something on the menu. And so I was just asking, well, what is this? And he looked, and she was sitting there, and she saw his face. She says, no, she's serious. She's really not being, but he was just stunned that I didn't know what the thing was, because I guess it was supposedly a traditional soul food. But she says, no, she didn't eat that stuff. I didn't raise her on
Right.
it. Right.
Look, my grandmother is 90 years old. She lives in Georgia, small town. My grandmother is in stellar health, and she does cook soul food. Now, of course, she doesn't cook soul food every day, but I truly believe one of the reasons why she's able to be 90 and thriving is because she grows her own food. She has her, if she wants some greens, she can just go pick them.
Right.
So I think there's something to be said about living a simplistic life. And then also, I mean, our aunts, like my grandmother, like she don't go to the doctor.
No.
I mean,
No.
so if you think about it, us coming from slavery, a lot of our ancestors had already been on wellness.
Yes.
A lot of them had already been,
Yes.
having natural remedies. I mean, we were kind of raised that way.
Exactly. And so the problem is that we've abandoned many of those practices, and our bodies are not performing so well. It's tragic. I read a statistic about 2 weeks ago, and that there's a 737% increase in Alzheimer's and dementia in the generational cohort of 30 to 44-year-olds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you're losing your mind at 30 to 44,
wow,
you require care, because your body begins to shut down and deteriorate. And hey, and guess what? Guess a major contributor is sugar.
Oh
Sugar
yeah,
in the brain and not
I
being
cut that out a long time ago.
so it's diabetes of the brain. And so these are lifestyle conditions. Most things that people, and everything, even when you talk about the factors that lead to a woman needing a hysterectomy, these are things that, Doc would talk about, is that because the things that sadly, like he has patients at this point who are older, who may have had a hysterectomy or something in their 40s, but by the time they get to their 60s or 70s, um, everything in our body, God put it there for a reason. And so when it's missing, there are other things that are impacted that may not be so aware or present at this time, but they become challenges later. And so the goal is to try to understand, how do we prevent illness and disease from setting into our body? And that really is, it starts with mindset.
It
And
does. It really does.
focus on mindset and mental well-being, mental wellness is so critical, because if we can manage how we experience our daily lives, our daily journeys, and it doesn't mean that they're not challenging. I was sharing with you just, we go through disappointments, we go through all these different things in life, but we still have to grow through them and continue forward. And so it's, how do you do that, right? When you're challenged or you're frustrated or you're whatever, it requires you to find a way to meditate. It requires sometimes for you to seek a therapist, to seek a support group, to find a safe space so that you can express whatever it is you're experiencing and get the support necessary. A lot of times it starts with not only the mental detox, but physically detoxing your
Yes.
body, Once you get your gut healthy,
Mhm.
then your brain will start to change as well.
It's full circle. Like, like we talked about earlier, I don't work out to lose weight. I'm not, I like the way I look. Um, I like exactly the way I look right now. I like the way I look. I work out for my mental health.
Mm.
I work out because it helps me to balance myself out. All the hormones and endorphins and all of that, and just stress of work. So that's the reason why I work out. I think sometimes too, a part of wellness is taking the stigma off of yourself that you need to look like a stick figure, because there's a lot of, I don't know if people understand, there's a lot of a sexism and racism related to a lot of these older BMI and different measurings. Okay. Um, you don't have to look this big to be healthy. A lot of people that's dying and passing away are stick figures. So it's not always about how much you weigh. It's like you said, it's about the mental, it's about your physical, it's about your emotional, your spiritual. All
Mhm.
those things have to be aligned.
Yes, absolutely. And you definitely have to know what makes you feel good. And that's,
Yes.
that's what I tell everyone. And even when people were asking me, I said, what I was thinking about was what makes me feel the best? When do I feel the best, the most flexible, the most whatever? That's what I'm aiming for. I'm looking
Yeah.
at pictures of me to be inspired by my own self. And, and so that's my aim, right? But it's about being able to put nutritious conversations,
And
food.
that's what I, not to cut you off, but that's what I love about Gen Z. Their generation is really taking their health seriously, their mental health seriously. My 22-year-old is really, like, the way he thinks is amazing. They're already going into the workforce like, hey, I'm only working 8 hours, if they're going into corporate. Or a
Sure.
lot of them are thinking about entrepreneurial endeavors. They're already looking at the back of the labels because they've been taught that in high school. Whereas, we our generation, we weren't necessarily, not all of us were taught how
Sure.
to eat healthy. So
Yeah.
they are Gen Z is really truly putting their health and wellness at the top.
Yes.
So us as employers, us as managers, us as, the senior level, have to take that into consideration as we're starting to hire the younger generation, because my son is not playing about his mental health.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I love it. I love it so much because, that's really what happened too. Because even when we shut down for COVID and I was in Jamaica, Sterling had come to Vegas for a period of time right around then. And so originally we thought I was going to be in Jamaica for about a month, but I stayed for 3 months. And then I turned around, came home, changed bags, and left again. All in all, for most of 2 years, I was gone between Jamaica and London, right? He was like, like, I just got to Vegas, everything is shut down, like, can't meet any, and so he was like, I think this is hard on my mental health. So he turned it into producing music and really developed his artistry and, popped out with a bunch in that regard, but it was about mindset. And so that's what I
Yes.
was going to kind of go back to. How do you think that not only you said Jalen's perspective and that mindset that he has. Would you say that's a result of nature or nurture or a little bit of both? And how do you say?
Ooh, that's a hard one. That the reason is because, like, if I look at my son, I would say more nature
Mm.
than nurture, because I mean, obviously I've taught him some things, but I I had to walk that thing out
Mhm,
versus him. He already had it in his mind. Like his mindset was already there.
mhm,
So I do believe that, I think it's generational. The
mhm,
percentage of nature, it's definitely both,
mhm,
but it's different levels of it depending on the generation.
mhm.
So I definitely see, like, with my son's generation, he's Gen Z. There definitely is more nature because we weren't teaching that. We weren't taught that necessarily.
Mhm.
unless, you know, you had an anomaly of a parent. But
Mhm.
I definitely think nature. I
Mm.
just think it's more nature than nurture.
Which is so interesting because, I was deliberate in a lot of things because my mom was deliberate and I remember my grandmother. And so, but I'm older than you guys. I'll be celebrating my 40-year high school reunion in August. And, that is a really interesting stage. We didn't have a bunch of high school reunions, so I'm excited to participate this year.
Where,
And
where, where? Because I don't see
oh,
that black don't crack, baby. You look gorgeous.
you says thank you. I didn't even have a chance to put on makeup. I went out for my walk this morning and came back in. And so I'm like, well, I did say it
Well,
was
if
naked.
you look like that without makeup, how do I look? Hold on.
Oh my God. She said it was naked, so naked it is.
Hey, you're getting the raw us, okay? Like,
Yes,
I just ran
exactly.
from my office, okay?
Right. Right. But that's the thing, is that it starts with the mental, obviously, and it's really interesting because uh it begins inside out. And I remember as a young girl being involved in a lot of things. And I remember people say, oh, you're so beautiful. And I would say inside out. And it was interesting because when I launched 420 Beauty Bear, which was literally just last year, and
Mhm,
started to kind of define what is a 420 Beauty Bear woman, who is she? What does she identify with? And when I said she's faith filled, she's
mhm.
fearless. She's a force to be reckoned with, and that began to sort of take on, if you will, that fostering more of the mindset or feeding my mindset. Like I gave myself permission to be me and
Correct.
stop trying to explain me to other
Mhm.
people. Just be
Ooh,
me.
that's good.
Right.
That's good. That's good
Right.
stuff.
And that's what happened is when I stopped trying to explain and just be. Right. And then when I learned, I didn't realize it because somebody had posted something, just because you have silence in terms of comments, on Facebook or whatever, doesn't mean that people are not sitting front row taking in your life. And I was like, wow, I really hadn't thought about that. But somebody had a conversation with me and they were just telling me, I was like, where did you find this out? Like, how do you know this? It's like, oh, on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, okay. So just
Yep.
be,
Just be.
just
Just
be.
be. And be okay with your journey,
Yeah,
because I think a lot of times when we talk about wellness and healthy eating, we think that we have to have it all together all at once. That's not how it works.
right.
You may tackle physical health first, and then you bring on your emotional health. Um, Take it slow and go on your path and your journey. Your journey, my journey is not going to look like yours. Yours
Oh,
is not going to look like mine. And I noticed that I get stressed out because I'm an overachiever. You know that. I stress myself out when I try to tackle it all at once.
mhm.
Um, when I'm like, oh, okay, I need to eat healthy, and I need to go to the gym, and I need to be the best mother I can be and the best employee I can be. No, like
Yeah,
it kind of goes along with what you're saying about just be you.
yeah. It
You
all
know
can be
you.
one. That was one of the things that I learned. I mean, I think the hardest challenge, being a successful early entrepreneur, I managed to have the business success, but I also had the tragedy of losing my mom early and my dad. And
Mhm.
so, that whole journey and then becoming a mom, all of those things where I felt like the basic support that you're supposed to get, right? Who said you're supposed to, because you don't, right? So you have gratitude for what you did get. And so that's, what I had to do, but I felt myself having to be, I needed to be my son's mom, but I also needed to give him a piece of my mom. So I needed to be his mom and his grandma in a sense,
Mhm.
in a way, and I needed to be his mom and his dad. I needed to
Mhm.
fill in all of these gaps, and then at the same time, I needed to show him that I still was able to love me through it all.
Mm-hmm.
And when putting me at the bottom of the list sometimes, and so how do we do that? How do we rebalance those things? But that's what becomes so important. So
Mm-hmm.
tell me what's happening, what's coming up. You got 2 graduations, you said this happening this summer.
I got 2 graduations coming up in May and June of both of my wonderful boys. So I'm looking forward to that. I have more properties coming on board, which I'm excited about. I will be trying to do some vacationing this summer. So that's a part of my mental health. Is I love to travel. So that's a part of my, outlet is to travel. That's how I connect with God, is through traveling and being around other people. So I'm going to be doing a little traveling this summer.
Oh,
Um,
sounds like you're a candidate for our 420 Tranquility in Treasure Beach that I'm working on.
put
Yeah.
listen, my husband ain't got to go with me. Okay?
Oh, he can come too.
I love him, but if he can't make it, I'm out.
Well, it's your choice, but you're both welcome. The whole
Yeah,
family is welcome because, it's that idea of, finding that peace. But yeah.
yeah. And then I've been picking up I've been doing a little bit of motivational speaking. I've always done motivational speaking. I've done it all my life, but I've been more so focused on working with women who've been through domestic violence.
Mm.
So I want to continue working with those groups, and just being a light there. I am a survivor of domestic violence, so it's just something that I'm passionate about, and so I'll be doing more work with working with women that have been through domestic violence. So
Oh, excellent. Thanks for sharing because there's definitely some opportunities. So I'll make sure that I continue to share some information and I have a few platforms that I want to point you to.
I would love to. I
Absolutely.
love to do is if I could do that for free, I would. If I could do that every day and all day, that's exactly what I would do. I would literally just work with women who have been through, um, toxic relationships, DV, things like that.
Well, I'm working on that Naked with Dr. Money tour about self-love, part 1, healing through forgiveness. And the reason being is to start there, start with you, start with that self-love on that journey. And so
Mhm.
I know that there are some opportunities. I'd love to have you join me on the road. So I'm going to
Yeah,
have to
you know
plan
you're
that.
my sister, so I'm going wherever you go.
Yeah.
I'm the sister, so you got to take me.
Yes, 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 yes. So we definitely must make that happen. Well, now, are you already taking clients, or is there a way for people to reach you?
Yes, I do. I actually, my social media platform, Instagram, you can inbox me at 8Dennise, Dennise. I have 2 N's in my name. So you can reach me there. I'm mostly on Instagram. Um, and if you're experiencing any type of domestic violence issues, whether that be physical, mental, emotional, inbox me. I do have a few ladies that have inboxed me, and I've been supportive of them and just getting them through the journey. One of the things that I wish I had when I was going through it was someone that I could talk to.
Mhm,
And a lot of times we suffer in silence through embarrassment, shame, guilt,
mhm.
but I am a resource. I am here for you, and I will walk with you. I will literally walk with you. You don't have to do it alone.
Oh, wow, that's such a blessing, and that's such an important need, right? So
Mhm.
that we can heal because it's a time of leadership, and in particular, it's a time of leadership for those of us women of African descent because
Mhm.
we have a different perspective. We've had to
Mhm.
experience different things, and the world needs some healing.
Yes.
And that's the
Yes.
healing that we have the ability to bring from our empathy, from our various experiences. And so it really is about us literally supporting that movement. We all have been given assignments. We just need to know to go forward with bringing those assignments to humanity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen X is out here doing the work. Our
Yeah.
generation, us too, we're
Yeah.
out here. We're here for you. Okay. We didn't, silent generation is exactly what it was. Silent.
Yeah. Really.
We are here. We are
Yeah.
here, and we are willing to share our education, our resources, our knowledge with you.
Yes. Yes. Because others didn't necessarily, they weren't so given. We had to find.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so dumb. You know what I mean? It's like, are you kidding me? I want you to stand on my shoulders and go forward, but
Yes.
that wasn't necessarily always how it was treated. Well, sis, Dennise, thank you so much for sharing this time.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Anytime. Sis. I love you so much.
Yes. And so I'll be looking forward with catching up with you, getting you on that tour. Congratulations on
Thank
everything
you.
you're doing, and send love and hugs to my nephew
I
and brother.
will.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I will see you soon.
See you soon. Mwah. Love you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, everyone, I want to thank you again for joining me for another episode of Naked with Dr. Money. If it's Wednesday and it's noon, you know what time it is. It's our time to get together. Now, did you remember what I shared with you about today? The message for today? I'll leave you with just one last reminder, because I want you to say this over and over again a few times. Remember, God's will for me is perfect happiness. I share God's will for happiness for me. And so I will see you next week. Again, Wednesday at noon. Join me again and be good to you. See you soon. Dr. Money signing off.